Julian Nagelsmann was requesting of them as well, but it has certainly been tweaked in certain areas. Just wondering what training drill they're going to do next, actually, now, the Bayern players. Gone through a bit of short pitch work, which really is about work in tight spaces, both defensively and offensively. The instructions just being given out right now. You can see, I think, still got a good smattering of fans in attendance as well. Definitely broken the 4-figure mark, no doubt about that. Definitely over 1,000. It's whether we have got a couple of thousand in attendance here at Säbener Straße. Church bells ringing in the background as well just a moment ago. Just down the road at Wettersteinplatz. Now we see the drill in action. Franz Ketzig. Well, finding the bottom corner. Tidy finish. But again, it is about that work in tight spaces. Receive the ball, move yourself beyond the marker. Get yourself in a goal-scoring position. The yellow dummy doing the defending as Thomas Tuchel watches on from the base of that post. Tell you as well that while this training session has been going on, sporting director Christoph Freund has been involved in a German television appearance where he's been answering questions as well on yesterday's defeat, talking about the fact that it's a big disappointment, that there's no real clear explanation, but the fact that he pointed out they didn't really bring the energy onto the pitch, the players, despite the fact that they had no game for almost 2 weeks. Also highlighted the fact that the bad start did not make things any easier, but ultimately that for a club like Bayern, there is no defence for a performance like that. And he said that for him it was an attitude problem, not a quality problem. Said he can't take anything away from Frankfurt because they executed their game plan really well. And again, he talks about actually what Thomas Tuchel talked about at half-time, saying that the message at half-time was to get an early goal and make it 3-2. And I tell you what, if they had done that, it could have been such a different game. And they took the risk. Tuchel made 2 changes at half-time. Mazraoui went off, Davies went off, on came Guerrero and Lima. The difficulty was they took a big risk and they were made to be punished for it because early in the second half, Bayern were creating all the pressure, and it invited Guerrero and Lima to push up from the back. And what they were doing was they were playing as inverted wingers. That's not a foreign concept. Oh, excuse me, inverted wingbacks. That's not a foreign concept here at Bayern because Julian Nagelsmann brought it in when he was on the books, especially with Davies, because you would see ultimately when Pavard was playing at right back, he would shift in as another centre-back alongside Upamecano or whoever else was at the heart of defence. It would then allow Davies to really go maraud forward down that left wing, but you wouldn't just see him get chalk on his heels on the wing. He would drift infield as well into that inside left channel, and that was what Lima did from the right yesterday after coming off the bench, and that's what Guerrero did from the left. The problem is they both did it at the same time. Bayern overcommitted, and then they got caught on the counter, and any hopes of them then staging that comeback and building on the lifeline that Joshua Kimmich's goal had given them dissipated, unfortunately. Oh, dear me. Well, It's the type of effort that I'd produce on the training pitch, I'll be honest. So I can't really criticise it too much. Matthias Tell certainly playing with great intensity here in training. Sven Ulreich and Daniel Peretz keeping themselves sharp. Sven Ulreich, of course, who signed a contract extension recently, got lost in amongst the snow chaos, and actually the fact that Neuer signed a contract extension at the same time as him, but both goalkeepers committing their futures to the club for an extra year. It was Manuel Neuer who said he's really been enjoying his work with Sven Ulreich, says that they have built a wall together at the back for Bayern. Manuel Neuer, though, back from that lengthy absence due to the broken leg he suffered almost a year ago. 350 days it took him to make his first appearance following that injury. I'd love to know what's going on in the mind of Thomas Tuchel. That perfectionist that I'm sure will have had several thoughts when it came to the defeat yesterday. Corbyn saying, I hope one day Bayern plays a match in Austria so that I can go watch. And I feel there was talk at one point recently of Bayern considering a trip down under. And the problem is it probably does have to come along with some sort of promotional work, because otherwise it's hard to convince them to take that long trip. We know that they do travel to Asia, as they did this summer. They went to Japan and Indonesia. Because they are aware that they have a global fan base and certainly try to cater to it. A couple of trips to the States in recent years as well. There will be no winter training camp in the Middle East, though, this time around, given the tragic events going on there still. And as a result, I think they'll look to work a little closer to home, Bayern, maybe during the winter break as well. They do have a friendly against Basel lined up, and a game against Hoffenheim as well. Tuchel saying that they will start their mid-season preparations again on January 2nd. And said that maybe they'll have another short training camp after the friendly against Hoffenheim. Just trying to think. I've been chatting away. I'm not sure I've seen Matthias Tell score any of these situations. He's certainly got the intensity. Certainly trying to put his foot through the ball at all times. There have been some very nice finishes, though, it has to be said, from the players involved in this drill. Mutaz is asking whether Harry and Thomas Muller are around. They were around. And I think Thomas Muller must be around somewhere still, because he was one of the substitutes yesterday, so I'm surprised if he's gone in too early. Maybe he's doing a drill somewhere else on the training pitches right now. But they were out earlier, Mutaz, and ultimately for the players that were in the starting lineup yesterday in that game against Frankfurt, they did some light drills, light aerobic drills, before then spending some time signing autographs, taking photos, and doing the rounds with the fans that have showed up here at Zeebrugge Straße. Later today, they will be keeping a very close eye on that game between Leverkusen and Stuttgart, no doubt. So have a big implication for them. Like, the big question really surrounding this Bayern side of whether they'll have a chance to take top spot off of Leverkusen before the winter break, and the way it's shaping up, it might not be the case. Of course, the German footballing season broken down into the Hinrunde and the Rückrunde here in Germany, the first half of the season and the second half of the season. Beauty of German football as well is that the fixtures from the first half of the season mirror themselves in the second half of the season. All you do is swap home and away. Trying to hit the cameras, are they? Matisse telling Daniel Peretz, I don't know, but clearly having some fun here at Zebener on this, what is now turning actually into a sunny Sunday afternoon here in Munich. Temperature still close to 0, but nice to see that the sun is trying to come out. Sven Weiss talked about how wonderful it is to work alongside Manuel Neuer upon signing his contract extension. Neuer underlining the fact that he is convinced that he can still achieve some big goals with Bayern in the next few years. Of course, for German players, it's not just club ambitions that are playing their part as well. The ambitions for their country. Germany have the home Euros coming up here in the summer. Manuel Neuer will undoubtedly be part of the Germany squad under Julian Nagelsmann for that tournament. They do want to try and turn the mood around right now surrounding the German national team. It has not been an easy time, or an easy year actually, 2023. And I wonder what Thomas Tuchel will think at the end of the year as well, because at the start of the year, he may not have been expecting to be involved as a football head coach before the end of the year, after seeing his time at Chelsea come to an end. But it all happened quite quickly for him last season, and ultimately now trying to build a bit of a legacy with Bayern. Maybe the type of legacy that Julian Nagelsmann envisioned himself, but never quite managed to fulfill either. And even defeats against Frankfurt won't be setbacks enough. He'll know how to handle adversity and will be looking to get his side back on track. And that's what they'll be looking to do on Tuesday against Manchester United. For now, we're going to leave it here for this live training session from Zebener. An absolute delight to have you involved. Anyone that got in touch in the chat, thank you. Always makes life that little bit easier. But it was wonderful to have you along, James Surrogate, your commentator for this one. But all that's left for me to do is wish you a wonderful rest of the weekend. Mia San Mia.